in your conversations with other people, you talk a lot about the trinity of masculinity. So you have your brother who is your trainer, you have a spiritual director, and you have a therapist.
Yep.
And could you just break that down a little bit more, just so that way I can understand it better?
Yeah. So this all came from, I read this book, Wild at Heart by John Eldridge, Christian writer, about authentic masculinity. That's one of the first books I read, the start of this year. And I think as many know, I think guys just don't like asking help for things, whether it's asking for directions or whatever. We just don't like, we don't have that bone in our body to like ask people for help. We're not built that way. It's on our software, right? And one thing that John Eldridge mentions in the book is, CEOs have executive team, presidents have a cabinet. Like these people that are very important people have a team to support them. So you're saying as a regular Joe Schmo on the block, you can't ask for help? Like it's kind of ridiculous. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I've had spiritual directors before. They never really worked out for whatever reason. And I was thinking about therapy for the longest time, and I didn't really get into therapy or mental health really until the pandemic. And then when this new year started, post 2020, I'm like, you know what? I want to do something that's different and bold. And my brother, who teaches martial arts out of Frisco, I joined his school in Texas, and then he has a branch here in Jersey that I've been doing. So those are the kind of the three things. So mind, body, soul. So mind, obviously having a therapist, and it's great because he's Catholic. We lean politically similarly to some degree, which is nice. And then I have a spiritual director, Father Zach Swantek. He's the chaplain for Princeton University here in New Jersey. Super busy guy, but he makes time for me by the grace of God. And my brother, who's based in Texas, but he has the crew of guys over here that I train with. And I think we all need that as guys. We need that sense of accountability. And I would say like 9 times out of 10, they agree or slightly agree in terms of like, if I ask them all for advice on one topic. If it's like, I need to change a career, or I need to move somewhere. Something that's really like substantial. They'll all kind of give me their own opinions. But for the most part, if they all kind of agree with each other without knowing they agree with each other, I figure that's probably the best course of action to take. So having that sense of accountability, and obviously I have, we all have guy friends that we go to the bar with and shoot the shit with or whatever. That's great. But having people that are kind of like arbitrators, they're not really attached to your life. Like my brother is, because we're related. Yeah. But like having people that have no real investment in my life other than like, I'm your mentor, I'm giving you advice. And it's great because honestly, like sometimes they call me out on my shit. And I think we as guys need someone to be like, hey, by the way, you're not doing something right. Like here's what's actually going on. Because you'll have a lot of yes men. And I've had a lot of those in my life too. And you want to be able to get out of that zone and hear other people's opinions. And that's for me, honestly. For me, January 2021 to me, what's October now, which is wild. A vastly different person. And I have those 3 people to thank for sure.
Yeah. Was there ever a time where the 3 of them didn't agree on something, or like their thoughts were not your thoughts?
I mean, like, I wouldn't say they disagreed, but I think they had very different perspectives on things. So I would say, like 2020 was a rough year for a lot of us. And I think that's a big reason why I have these 3 people in my life. So, each of them gave me basically a theme or advice for the year 2021. So, my spiritual director being, as we're both Catholics, right? Like redemptive suffering is very Catholic. Redemption stories are a very Catholic thing. So my spiritual director, kind of advised me, like, see things through a redemptive lens. And I've kind of seen that throughout the course of 2020 till now. My therapist is really big on exposure therapy. And I think a lot of mental health speak nowadays with triggers is like, oh, avoid everything that makes you uncomfortable. If it triggers you, don't face it. And I'm not giving mental health advice here at all. I'm not saying that, but sometimes you need to expose yourself to certain things and revisit and reclaim certain things. So you could kind of like train your brain, or at least, revisit something, reclaim it to some degree. Yeah. And my brother in martial arts speak, there's this term called inoculation, where if you get hit, you get hurt. You're not masking the pain. You're not like shoving it deep down, but instead, if you acknowledge the pain and then you think of your training, how do I block this punch or this hit or whatever? Whether it's inoculation or redemptive suffering or exposure therapy, there are 3 kind of different things, but they all kind of tell me the same thing, which is face my shit. Grow a pair and live life and thrive, So even though that's different, it kind of led me to where I'm